Alright, you want to know inequality problems versus equations. What are the differences? Well, I do want to point out that in both of these guys, regardless of what problem I'm going to give to you, you will always have to write some sort of expression. And when I say some sort of expression, I mean you're going to have to write something with algebra. That means numbers, operations, and variables. And this could be simple, it could be complex. For example, if I said Mike has twice as much money as John, that's a really simple expression. That would just be 2, a number, times an operation, x, a variable, or just 2x. Again, x being the amount of money that Mike has if John has twice as much as Mike. I forget which way I said it. There you go. Pretty simple, right? Well, with these expressions, you're going to do one of two things, okay? In a good old equation problem, generally speaking, I give you two different things. This problem should probably look familiar to you. And in this case, you had to combine them. And inequalities often look like this as well. The only difference being, if I change this problem to write an inequality, and I said instead of to find out how long each is worked there, if I said to find out at least, perhaps, how long each is worked there, or if I want to go even crazier, I could say at most, how long is each worked there. It's really just going to be the exact same thing that you did before, and I mean the exact same thing. The only difference is, rather than equals 22, choose the appropriate sign. At least would be greater than or equal to 22, where at most would be less than or equal to 22. And you're going to solve it using the same way. You just get an inequality as in your answer rather than an equation. Okay. However, there is another thing we might do. Sometimes, rather than just having, this is pretty much the same thing as an equation and just changing it to an inequality sign, sometimes I have something that's entirely different that we haven't seen before. And this is where we have two expressions and we compare them using an inequality. So I have this Burger King problem where they charge $6.56 for a Whopper meal, but only $1.50 for a cheeseburger per cheeseburger. If I want to know, again, at least, that magic word, greater than or equal to, I want to know at least how much more, how many cheeseburgers you need to buy to equal a Whopper. Well, then I have an expression for cheeseburgers on one side, 1.5 B times the number of cheeseburgers, and I have an expression for the cost of a Whopper on the other side, $7.56. I could make it W if I added a certain number of Whoppers. In this case, the problem just says the Whopper, meaning just one Whopper meal. And that's it. And all of that is to say, guys, Whopper is on one side, the expression for Whopper, and cheeseburgers on the other. And now we put an inequality sign between them rather than writing an equation and just turning it into an inequality. So these are really the only two types of inequalities we're going to see. Again, one where we're just doing an equation and we change it to an inequality, and the other where we have two expressions, and rather than putting an equal sign between, we put an inequality sign between. Those are really the only two cases. Please raise your hand, though, if you have questions about that, if I can explain it in a different way. Thank you.